Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, February 24th. So we have the moon in Capricorn energy again here all day. However, we are going to see the moon go void, of course, at 10:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we won't be shifting into Aquarius energy until early Tuesday morning. It's a very interesting day. Of course, we just had Mars go direct here yesterday. And of course, we are acclimating to this particular energy. It's going to take a couple of days. Mondays are ruled over by the moon. And today there are 12 different aspects, all 12 involving the moon, which makes this a moon day. Moon days are kind of a day for emotional refinement, emotional realignment. However, that's a little bit of an oxymoronic thing to say with the moon in Capricorn, seeing as we don't really like to deal with emotions. We like to keep ourselves busy in action, kind of checking things off of our to-do list, if you will. And so we kind of distract ourselves from the emotions that are bouncing around within us. I think it is a very interesting dynamic that the moon in Capricorn is taking place here today with all of these moon energies, because it gives us a grounded, anchored approach to sorting through our thoughts and our emotions. I would also say, though, it's going to be an interesting day, an interesting energy dynamic, because in Pisces season, we need to be flexible. And the last thing that we are getting with the moon in Capricorn is flexibility. We're very rigid, very anchored in. It is an earth energy. And so we're going to have that water from Pisces season kind of crash upon us, if you will. And we are just going to hold the line, and we're going to allow those emotions, that intuition, to crash upon us. We're going to hold the line, stay in spot, and just see what comes up for us. So with all of that being said, we kick off the day with the moon in Capricorn making a very positive interaction with Neptune in Pisces energy. We love Capricorn and Pisces energy working together, because it means that whatever it is that we are kind of receiving, as far as intuition, as far as downloads, as far as new ideas, that's that Piscean energy, we're able to actually bring it into the materialistic realm, bring it to life through the Capricorn energy. Why? Because we can kind of anchor in, we can kind of see where logic and practicality needs to be applied, and where it is that a plan and a strategy needs to be implemented in order to bring some of these goals, visions, dreams to life. So we are hypersensitive. There's a lot going on in our inner realm, whether we want to admit it or not. And with this particular interaction, we're receiving a huge amount of intuitive downloads that, of course, we're going to percolate upon and figure out what we want to actually do with these particular insights. We then have the moon in Capricorn directly opposing, sitting across from Mars. Mars being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire. He just went direct here yesterday. If you haven't listened to that astro forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. If you haven't captured the shift in your energy and your motivation in the F's that you actually have to give, get that February energy guide in front of you, flip to this particular chapter, really kind of grasp what's going on, because again, there's a lot of flashbacks to October, November of 2024 that we're going to have to kind of revisit, recalibrate, realign. This is the first interaction that Mars is making while in a direct position. So again, we still need some time to kind of adjust and acclimate to this particular forward momentum. Again, a lot of green light go-aheads to take action and make moves to, again, close the door, to detach, to wrap things up in the past. We're not necessarily moving into new energies or new options and opportunities to take new actions and create new beginnings. That will come kind of in May. But right now, actions can be made to kind of close the door upon a lot of the things that, of course, we're no longer resonating with. This particular opposition is going to highlight the tension. It's going to highlight the restlessness, the frustration, the anger that we are currently sitting in, because again, we've gotten this green light go ahead. We have the ants in our pants kind of fueling us to take action, move on, move forward. But emotionally speaking, again, Capricorn energy, we're not going anywhere. We are grounded, we are rooted, we are permanently standing in this particular spot until we have a logical, practical plan put into place. And that can be aggravating as F, because we really want to take action and make moves. We want to see some progress. We want to see momentum. But again, emotionally and mentally speaking, not the time to be doing this. The moon is then going to make a beautiful interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. Of course, Jupiter is in Gemini energy. Jupiter in this Gemini energy is magnifying where it is that, again, the last 4.5 months, we've been kind of reviewing old tough love life lessons, reviewing old information, old wisdom, old knowledge that we have bouncing around within us that we've failed to integrate. We have failed to put it into practice. We have failed to put it in our day-to-day lives. And so now that Jupiter is direct, we are slowly but surely trying to integrate that information, expand upon some of the ideas, some of the revelations that we've been receiving. We love Mr. Jupiter being aspected in a positive way because he brings the hype. He brings the optimism, he brings the confidence, he brings the magnifying glass, helping us to focus on the silver linings, on the potentialities, on the possibilities of what we can build and create when we start doing the work and getting ourselves in alignment. So this is definitely a beautiful interaction. Again, the moon being in this Capricorn energy has us anchored in the present moment, has us kind of calm, cool, and collected in our inner realm to explore some of the ideas that, again, we've been percolating upon, especially connected with career goals, with financial goals, with what it is that we want to build and create in our physical realms. The moon in Capricorn then going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction with Mercury, who of course is the ruler of the mental plane. We find Mr. Mercury in Pisces energy at this particular moment, meaning Capricorn, Pisces, they're working well together. Our heart space, the moon, Mercury, our head space, they're working well together. Whatever it is that we can imagine, whatever it is that we can visualize, whatever it is that actually sparks a little bit of excitement, a little bit of inspiration and motivation, we can bring it to life through, again, logically, practically planning what needs to be done in order to, again, clear the space, clean the slate of the old, and really have the space to start building towards something new. Now, where communication is concerned, again, it's a very hard time to communicate ourselves correctly, to have our message well received with Mercury in this Pisces energy. A lot of the information we just want to kind of keep to ourselves. However, if you find yourself in a situation where you want to kind of converse and express yourself, it is going to be a little bit difficult to do so. And again, we have some outlandish ideas that don't make some emotional sense to us at this particular juncture. But at the same time, we're very creative, we're very expressive, and we are attempting to get the good ideas that we're having out into the world. The moon is then going to sextile, another beautiful interaction, this time with Saturn. Saturn rules over the Capricorn energy that the moon is currently in, so there's going to be a little bit more intensity here, interacting with the ruler. And we have Mr. Saturn, who rules over karma, rules responsibility, system structures, foundations, willpower, and discipline, also in this Pisces energy. Now, what I love about this is that it brings us back down to earth a little bit, and it helps us kind of organize the outlandish thoughts, the big goals, visions, and dreams that, again, are popping off in our inner realm. And it helps us organize what actually needs to be done. We have a to-do list kind of going here of the doors that we need to close in order to, again, pivot to another to-do list, which is opening new doors. And so, again, there is a little bit more focus, a little bit more tunnel vision with this particular interaction to kind of help us focus in on what needs to be done and how we can tackle it, how we can be productive, see a little bit of progress, not only in our inner realm, but in our outer realm as well, as we start kind of attempting to, again, detach, close the door, bring things to a full circle cycle so that, again, we can start focusing on what we want to build and create moving on and moving forward. The moon in Capricorn energy, then going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Chiron, that wounded healer in Aries energy. So of course, Capricorn energy, Aries energy, they're both cardinal energies. This is what gives us our square. The square is highlighting where it is that we're going through some growing pains. And in this particular juncture, it's the growing pains of the new identity that we are trying to anchor in, the higher version of self, versus the old identity. Now, again, Capricorn energy holds on to the past, hold on to the old, hold on to what is tried, tested, true, and semi-traditional. Now, that being said, cardinal energies, when they are kind of faced with information and details that support pivoting, that support making a great change, we are able to do so. However, the negative ass narrative that kicks in with the moon in Capricorn when being kind of aspect unexpected and not the greatest way, means that we're about to bully ourselves. We're about to beat ourselves up, break ourselves down. Now, again, not supposed to feel good, but we can learn a lot about the shadow parts, the elements within us that, again, are kind of tucked away, deep, dark, down underneath the surface that need to rise to the surface for our awareness, for our acknowledgement, so that we can do something about it and prevent the self-sabotage that will take place if we are not doing the work. And so this particular energy, although it doesn't feel good, although it's going to be a little bit of a dark pause in our emotions and in our headspace, it is going to help us see this new version of self, the strengths, the boldness, the bravery, the courage that we may be feeling or lacking, if you will, at this particular juncture. We just need to reframe how it is that we're seeing ourselves. The moon in Capricorn then is going to semi-square, creating a little bit of tension and conflict with the sun in Pisces energy. So again, typically speaking, if this was a positive interaction, we would love Pisces and Capricorn energy working together, but this isn't the greatest interaction, which means that the shadow elements are going to come out to play. Of course, the negative narrative from the moon in Capricorn, the sun shining a very bright light in the Pisces energy, where the shadow part of self is kind of blocking the progress, blocking the ability for us to move on and move forward. There's always an aha moment when the sun and the moon are coming together on what we want, what we need, what we desire, and what we need to do to get it. Unfortunately for us, we're going to have these realizations through tension, through growing pains, through things not working out so well. Sometimes we need to bang our head against the wall in order to knock some sense into it and for us to open up our eyes to where it is that we need to do things a little bit differently in order to create a different result. The moon in Capricorn energy, then going to trine, beautiful interaction with Uranus, the great awakener in Taurus energy. So this is earth on earth action. This is what gives us our trine. And we love this because, of course, Uranus brings in new perspectives, brings us a jolt of energy to shift perspectives, to shift our mood and attitude, to open up our mind, to take a calculated risk, breaking away from the physical, materialistic realm constructs of people, places, and things that, again, we're overly attached to, that we've outgrown, that for some reason we're still holding on to. Emotionally speaking, we are bossing up in this Capricorn energy. We recognize that, again, acting from our own power, our own authority, we recognize now we're where it is that we are holding onto the old and therefore blocking the progress of moving on and moving forward. Now, this is coming in a positive aspect. So it's not like, again, we're getting a harsh reality check. It's just like an epiphany. An aha moment, a light bulb goes off. Suddenly we see things differently. We see where it is that, again, we're resisting the changes that need to be made to free us up to move on and move forward. And once you know, you can't unknow. Therefore, it is going to be a nagging narrative in our head to do all of the things that, again, we're kind of resisting and doing because, again, they're tough, they're hard. It's not fun to bring people, places, and things that you were once very connected to an end, to a closure point. We have the moon in Capricorn, then making a very uncomfortable interaction with Jupiter in this Gemini energy. And again, he's not bringing the hype. He's not bringing the confidence. He's not bringing the optimism at this particular juncture. We're kind of, I'm going to say, losing ourselves in an over-exaggerated state of worry, of anxiety, of negative ass narratives. And a lot of this is because we gained the epiphany, we gained the insight from that interaction with Uranus. Once you know better, you then have to do better. Once you're excited, once you're inspired on what it is that you have the potentiality to bring to life in a futuristic realm, then suddenly you got to come back to the present moment and realize all the blockages, all the restrictions, all the things on your to-do list that probably aren't going to be fun in order to wrap up this old chapter for us to start fresh and start new. So we gained this insight, and then immediately we started talking fear into it. We started kind of losing ourselves to the fears, the doubts, the insecurities. We started kind of, I'm going to say, convincing ourselves that maybe we just need a little bit more time. Maybe we're making a bigger deal out of the situation than that actually needs to be. There is this element where, again, we kind of lose ourselves into the darker parts of ourselves, and we're not really seeing the option and opportunity for growth, for evolvement, for expansion. Now, the moon goes ahead and sextiles, which is a beautiful interaction with that North Node in Pisces energy. This is going to refresh, renew, restore our hopes, our faith, our wishes, our vision, our mood, our attitude for the future. And of course, that North Node in Pisces is trying to get us on the right path in alignment to our purpose, to our potential, to our mission. Now, with that North Node in Pisces, the biggest lesson here is to surrender. Surrender and trust the greater, grander plan, regardless of what your physical circumstances are dictating to you at this particular juncture. As far as possibilities go, you have to look past the physical. You have to trust the greater, grander plan. You have to have faith, not only in the universe, but within yourself as well. So this is kind of plucking us out of that darkness, renewing the light within us, kind of giving us a refresher course on where it is that, again, we have a goal, a vision, a dream for the future, and we have to stay focused on that so that we don't get sidelined, backtracked, if you will, with all of the ifs, ands, buts, shoulda, coulda, wouldas that, again, our ego programming likes to get us caught up in. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. Of course, she is in Aries energy. She's getting a little bit jittery because, of course, she is reaching her retrograde point here on March 1st. Now, the moon and Venus working together is a beautiful interaction because we're getting to the heart and soul of the matter. This is a heart activation. If you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so that you understand where the energy is manifesting in the physical form and what it is that you can do to kind of alleviate some of those particular symptoms. But at this particular juncture, we understand that Venus in Aries energy is focused on the future, focused on who and what we love and who and what we want to take with us in building this new realm, this new reality. The interesting dynamic is that the moon in Capricorn, typically speaking, would be overly attached to the past, overly attached to keeping things the same. But emotionally speaking, again, when you present a cardinal energy with information and details that something isn't working, that we could do better, we can improve, that we should, pivot and start building towards something new, the cardinal energies have no problem doing so, and therefore a pivot is in play. But this pivot is in our heart space. Our worth is changing, our value is changing, our affections are changing, our desires are changing. And at this particular juncture, we're thinking about the long term. That's what that Capricorn energy is all about. And so this is an aha moment, an epiphany, if you will, of acknowledging where it is that our heart space is going through a major pivot point and addressing the wants, needs, and desires that are now rising to the surface of our awareness. The moon in Capricorn then going to make the final aspect of the day with a sextile with Neptune in Pisces energy. So again, beautiful interaction. We started the day off with a beautiful interaction between these two. We're going to end the day off with a beautiful interaction between these two. Pisces energy, Capricorn energy working together. We're gaining insight. We're kind of restoring our hopes, our wishes, our dreams. We're restoring our faith. We are definitely seeing where it is that a want, need, and desire for a futuristic change so that we're more in alignment with our higher selves and really bringing happiness and joy into our everyday life is a major, major thing that we all need to start doing. We have the ability to kind of reframe what needs to be done. Yes, there is a little bit of a comparison energy because, again, when you lose yourself in imaginary land, in la la land, and you grasp a goal, a vision, a dream for the future, that makes you feel happy. It makes you feel excited. It makes you feel hyped up. But when you come back to this present moment and you realize the gap between where it is that you're at and where it is that you want to be, that is when the negative narrative kicks in. Now, we're not going to go that far into the negative narrative. We're going to stay in our power, in a realistic understanding of the to-do list that we have to be creating in order to eliminate, close the door upon a lot of the things that, again, we're no longer in resonance with, to create the time, the energy, the space for us to be building towards, again, the goal, the vision, the dream that we're excited, hyped up to want to actually pursue. Now, it is at this particular juncture, 10:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that the moon will go void, of course, and we sit in this void until early Tuesday morning.